Good evening from PLUGHITZ Studios in Largo, Florida. I'm Scott.
I'm Abram.
And we are here with episode 476 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network, for August 20th, 2017. This week, Apple gives us something to not worry about, Blizzard gives us something not to remember, and Facebook gives us something not to hate. Wherever you are and however you're joining us, thank you for making us a part of your day, whether it be Facebook, iTunes, the Podcast Play app in the Windows Store, Google Play Music Podcasts on Android, the myriad of other podcatchers, our live streaming services, including Livestream itself, Periscope, Mixer, and YouTube Live, or of course on our apps, PLUGHITZLive.com/apps. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There's two ways that you can do that. You can join us live on Sundays through our live streaming services by going to f5live.tv/join us. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. And from there, you can chat with us here in the studio, no matter what platform you're on. We've got Periscope open right in front of me, so I can keep an easy eye on that. So if you want to talk to us, that might be your best bet. But the other rooms are open here too. Of course, if you can't join us live, that is okay. You can subscribe to this show and all of our others by going to plughitzlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see F5 Live, the Pilch Point with Abram Pilch, which will be in just a little bit. We're going to talk about some resources that might make the Eclipse more interesting for you. Our First Look series, our special events, and a number of other series there as well. And so you can subscribe to all of those right there. I think I just managed to get through the spiel faster than ever, Abram. How are you?
Good.
That's good to hear. Did you have a good week?
Yeah, decent. Kind of busy. Lots going on. Preparing for what's going to be a big week this week. As we know, Monday is the Eclipse.
Yes.
Which is a big deal for a lot of, for not only for Tom's Guide, where I work, but also for Space.com, our sister site, which sits right next to us. So that's huge. We're doing a lot of articles on that, and of course, in concert with that, Intel is going to be doing an announcement. They're doing a live stream to announce some information about their next CPUs with the Eclipse, so that's going to be big news as well.
And of course, Android O becomes official tomorrow. It's going to launch alongside the what's it called, the Eclipse. So kind of everybody is doing something in association with the Eclipse. I apologize that my brain went a little sideways for a second because it is our weekly Avram pause, so it's okay. He's always right back. It's no big deal. But yeah, so the Eclipse is tomorrow, Intel is tomorrow, Android O is tomorrow. Looks like Avram's pause might be over.
It's like every time of the show, like the first 15 minutes, somewhere around minute 15, I have no idea when this happens. What do you think it's going to be named?
It depends on whether they made an agreement with Nabisco or not. There have certainly been a lot of images showing Oreos, but obviously the last time they did a real branded thing, they made an agreement. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be Orangina.
I don't even know what that means.
Orangina, it's a soda.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's an orange soda.
I would hope. It would be weird if it was called that and it was a grape soda.
Not common in the United States. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, well, Oreo is the logical choice. We'll have to see if it pans out.
Especially if they're going to launch it alongside the Eclipse, because, the Oreo is a perfect graphical partner for the Eclipse with its white center and black outside. There's a lot of graphics that could go alongside Oreo tomorrow.
That's true.
So that I kind of assumed that the appearance of an Oreo was the reason why they decided to do tomorrow for Android O. But
Yeah, I mean, I think they should also have one that's like, some kind of parallel processing version of the operating system and call it double stuff.
that's the opposite of the new lightweight Android that they announced.
Yeah, if it's like got more stuff, it does more stuff. Maybe dual screen, call it double stuff.
They could the Oreo Thin could be the other one. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Those aren't the only two companies who have tried to latch onto the onto the Eclipse though. Wow, has social media been almost annoying with companies trying to jump on the Eclipse bandwagon.
Yeah, it is it's a lot of hype. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind when I actually look at it tomorrow, but
right.
It just seems like couldn't you just see a picture of it?
Thank you.
No glass is necessary, and you won't go blind either. So, if you watch it on the web, which will be something I'll talk about in my segment. But
I'm so glad to hear somebody else say, "I don't." What? Shh, calm down.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get listen. I like stars. I like space, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not getting it. You have the sun and you have the moon passing in front of it, or the Earth being in such a position that the moon is blocking the sun.
Yeah.
So okay, we've seen pictures of what that is going to look like. It's going to be a little darker, and the sun is going to be partially obstructed.
And it'll be the thing that triggers superpowers in certain people. Oh, no, wait. That was NBC's Heroes. I apologize.
Oh, well, if that happens, but we won't need to look at it for that. I'll just see the people flying around, and I'll know.
And plus, just as you're getting into it, NBC will pull the rug out from under you anyway. So
yes, that's true.
But that's kind of the thing they're known for. Anyway, that's enough NBC bashing. How about we get into some news from the week? This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store, the Xbox One X Project Scorpio Edition, Special Edition, shown off at Gamescom like a matter of hours ago. Available right now for pre-order. It'll be a special edition that is just for launch, and then it'll never be available again. Then you'll just be able to get the regular Xbox One X. Plus, of course, if you want an Xbox One S right now, you can get a 1 terabyte console and get 2 extra games for free. But it's not just Xbox. That's obviously the big deal with Gamescom going on right now. But you can also get the Surface Book with performance base. You can get a bunch of games, the HTC Vive, Office 365, and a lot more, all available by going to f5live.tv/Microsoft. Now, we're not going to talk about Gamescom tonight, not even in the gaming segment. But that's because it's just getting going. Instead, we will wait until next week to talk about the stuff that we learn tonight and tomorrow. But for now, let's talk about Apple. But not our normal Apple has done something crazy. Instead, let's talk about something that Apple has done accidentally that has made a lot of people happy. In the most recent iOS 11 beta, they released a new feature that is a panic mode for the device, so that if you're about to be mugged or you're in a parking garage and there's something weird going on, you can rapid press the power button, and it'll put the phone into a panic mode, so that you can easily call the cops or an emergency contact number, which is a great idea. But the thing that comes along with it is that it'll also lock the device from being able to be used with Touch ID, so that if you're mugged, somebody can't just take your finger, touch the Touch ID, steal all your information off the phone, that type of thing. It's a pretty logical extension of the feature, and one that I'm pretty excited about, but not for the reason that Apple thinks. One of the things that has existed since the beginning of Touch ID, and other devices as well, but Touch ID was kind of the first mass-marketed phone biosensor, right? So since it came out, one of the big concerns that started with a professor here at University of South Florida and has made it, there was an article on Wired about it, that Touch ID could bypass the Fifth Amendment. So here's how. Normally, if you're pulled over and a cop suspects something and wants to access your phone, if you have a passcode on it, they cannot force you to give information. But they can have you perform a simple task. For example, walking a straight line if you're suspected to be drunk. It's a simple task. It doesn't give away any information about you or anything like that. Well, unfortunately, putting your finger on a circle was believed to be the same thing. A year later, Virginia court ruled that that was the case, and so you had to make a decision. Do you use Touch ID for convenience and then, potentially have privacy issues, or do you skip the Touch ID and use a PIN code? Now you don't have to make that decision. Now you can rapid press the power button and lock the device from being able to be used with Touch ID until you enter your PIN, which you cannot be forced to do. Kind of an interesting situation, and one that we've talked about on the show long ago in the past, like 2013, 2014, that time period, when the issue was first really raised. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. What do you think, Abram?
So what's Apple's reason for doing this? If a mugger is coming to get you, and you think they're gonna, how does this protect you from being mugged?
Well, this particular aspect of it doesn't protect you from being mugged. What the panic thing does do is gives you the ability. It's like the. Did you see any of the panic rings that were at CES in like the Eureka Park area? There were a number. There were a number of them, and you could like press and hold a button on the ring, and it would call somebody predetermined in your contact list. This is Apple building that directly into the phone. But somebody in Apple said, well, if you're panicked, maybe we should protect the data in the device too.
Right.
Now, Apple hasn't talked about the feature at all in any detail. Somebody happened to stumble across the feature. Somebody on Twitter happened to stumble across the feature and happened to mention it, and a lot of people went, oh, wait, that has another connotation as well.
But wait a second. So when you go into panic mode, you can call your special contact, right?
Sure.
Without logging in.
Correct.
But if there's there's a disadvantage here. Do you think everybody who has an iPhone remembers their PIN?
I have no idea. Well, based on how bad the Touch ID works in my experience, I imagine you would have to.
Oh, okay. Because I could totally imagine the situation where, like, you use your Touch ID all the time. You don't remember your thing. Now you're locked out of your own phone. Well,
anytime the phone power cycles, you have to put your PIN back in to unlock it. So, and again, with the battery life on an iPhone, my guess is most people experience the phone turning off often enough.
This seems like a very awkward conversation with the cop that's pulling you over, though. Like, sure, oh, hey, I can't unlock that for you. I can touch the thing, but you can see that it's not unlocked. You know,
It's true, but it's not a conversation that is a new one for police. The chances of them attempting an unwarranted search of your device are slim unless you're coming into the country from somewhere else. Uh, um, but it has happened. It has happened in at least one case to a God. It was when BlackBerry was big. It was there was a CEO of like a Fortune 1000 or a CTO or something, and they got pulled over, and the police tried to search the BlackBerry, and they said, no, absolutely not. There's corporate confidential information on here. Absolutely not. You cannot search it. And if I remember correctly, they ended up destroying the device rather than letting the cop have it.
yeah, I mean, so I think what we're really getting at here is this is a nice little workaround, but we need, but really like electronic devices ought to be covered under the Fifth Amendment. Like it doesn't make sense, and they are, right. Like to an extent, right? They can't force you to unlock it,
Right.
and I would think they need a warrant to attempt to unlock it on their own, right?
Yes.
So it seems like an end run around the Fifth Amendment to say, like, well, we can make you put your finger on the thing so it's unlocked. Shouldn't they not be allowed to look at it even if you did unlock it?
Unless they have, quote, just cause. Just like they can enter a building if they have just cause, such as hearing a gunshot, or in this case, seeing something questionable in your car. The same reason that they're theoretically, I think they're not, but that's for constitutional scholars to deal with. They're able to search your trunk if they believe that there's just cause.
It seems odd to me because, like, you could come up with a case for where, like, it's urgent that they get into your trunk. Like, they can't wait to call a judge and get a search warrant. I don't know. You could have a person alive and trapped in there.
Sure.
You could have, I don't know, a bomb in there. Like, there's imminent danger to someone potentially.
Sure.
In your trunk. What's the imminent danger to someone that is in your phone that they cannot wait to get a search warrant?
I'm totally with you. I agree entirely that this particular scenario should not be allowed. But when the Touch ID came out, a number of legal scholars, including one here in Tampa, said, "Uh-oh, I bet this is going to be covered under simple task. No way this is going to be good." And a woman, Marcia Hoffman at Wired, wrote an article in 2013 about it. And then a year later, she posted on Twitter, "Told you."
Well, it's an interesting world we live in when these things sort of become issues. So, okay, I guess good news, iPhone folks. When the cop is about to pull you over, hit the panic button.
Just kind of my default thought pattern anyway. If a cop is trying to pull me over, because the chances that I'm trying to do it are slim.
Yeah,
I panic anyway.
Yes, but anyway, so it is definitely an interesting feature, of course, for other devices that don't have such a thing,
right?
That don't have that mode, like Samsung phones or whatever. I guess the thing is, don't use. Well, do we know whether Simple Task includes like fingerprint readers that are on the back of the device?
It does.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, because it doesn't require you to testify against yourself. So they cannot ask you for information, but that is considered to be not asking for information. It's considered a simple task.
Right. Well, okay. So there you have it. If you don't support this and you're worried about police searching your phone, then maybe you should use a pen instead.
Indeed.
Yeah.
This week's Pilch Point on F5 Live is proudly powered by Monster Products. The headphones on my head right now, the Monster Elements, available in on-ear and over-ear, like what I've got, plus a whole array of other headphones and speakers, from the little Hotshot to the giant Monster Blaster, which once again saved a wedding reception over the weekend. That's 2 now. And then, of course, all the cables and power to connect these devices and your home entertainment and your computer as well are all available by going to PLUGHITZLive.com/monster. And of course, that music means that it is time for the Pilch Point with online editorial director of Laptop Magazine and Tom's Guide, Avram Pilch. Hey, Avram.
Hey!
I remembered your title this week.
Yeah! Excellent. So,
Only been saying it for 8 years, but whatever. I don't know how I freaked out last week.
I should get a new job title to change it up for you.
Yeah, it was hard enough when we added Tom's Guide to the mix.
Yes, it was. So, speaking of Tom's Guide, Monday is going to be, this week is a big day for us and for our sister site, space.com, which they are part of our same parent company, Perch Incorporated, and they actually sit in the same office with us. And we are at Tom's Guide, are doing a lot to cover the eclipse, and they are doing a lot to cover the eclipse. So obviously, eclipse mania has hit the U.S. because this is the first time in a long time that we're going to get this kind of eclipse visible throughout most of the country, and we won't see another one until 2024. So we have some resources to help you enjoy the eclipse. For one, if you go to tomsguide.com, we'll have some of these things linked from the homepage. But one article that we have that's very important is how you can watch the solar eclipse online. Now, you might be saying, why do I want to watch the eclipse online? Why don't I just go outside? Well, there are a few reasons why you might want to watch it online. One, you may be in a cloudy area. If the weather is poor and it's cloudy, you can see feeds from other places that are much better than your view. Second of all, if you don't have eclipse glasses, ones that have been ISO certified, you shouldn't be looking at the eclipse because you could potentially go blind. So the safest way to view the eclipse is through a feed, and we have a list of several feeds you can visit. Links to the ones from NASA TV, a ballooning project, which actually sends balloons up to take a look at the eclipse above the clouds. SLU, which is another place that has online access to telescopes around the world, including in Stanley, Idaho, which is one of the places that I think is in the line of totality where you can get a really good view. So
I like that term.
Line of totality.
Yeah.
It's line of totality means that you will see 100% eclipse, meaning that the sun will be completely obstructed by the moon at some point. Now, here in New York, where I'm living, we're not in the line of totality. We will get about an 80% occlusion. So, pretty good, but not 100%. And there are people who are flying to places and taking hotels out and all this stuff. And oh boy, what a problem it'll be if it's a cloudy day because they flew all the way over to wherever and booked a hotel and now they can't see what they came for. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of wealthy eclipse chasers who make a life out of this because there are eclipses around the world, all the time. But this is the first time we've had one that's really covering the whole United States, and we can see it over here in North America. So besides where to see it, we also have a list of the best eclipse apps. Some of these things, some of these apps include the NASA Observer, which which gives you, which gives you a really good view. Some of these are just also really good for not just for the eclipse, but for sky watching all the time. So there's one called Star Walk 2 that we recommend, which uses augmented reality to give you an interactive telescope of the night sky. Uh, there is Eclipse Safari, which runs on both Android and iOS, even though it's called Safari, which gives you eclipse news. Total Solar Eclipse, which can tell you how much of the eclipse you'll be able to observe. We have a complete list of all of these apps and all the places that you can actually get a live stream of it. On our sister site, space.com, there's going to be even more coverage if you go to space.com and you, first of all, just be on the homepage on Monday, but there's also a link at the top nav to Eclipse 2017. They will also have live feeds, and they will have reporters around the country at major eclipse spots in the totality, getting pictures, getting information about the eclipse. So a lot of cool stuff. I would just caution people that if you're going to view the eclipse, make sure that you have the proper eclipse glasses, which you can see on space.com what kind they are, but they have to have the correct ISO certification on them and be purchased from a reputable source, because apparently there's some ones that are faking it. Because if you look at the sun without them, or with glasses that are the wrong kind, you could get serious vision damage or even go blind. So and you wouldn't know it until maybe the next day. So
I actually read an interesting warning interview with a man who I think lost his vision during an eclipse sometime in the 60s.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I know it sounds insane, but it's not. It's true. Don't do it. Don't be me. I've been living with this for 50 years now. Don't.
It seemed so not worth it. Like, just like if you think that you don't have the glasses, or you're worried that they're gonna fall, whatever. I'm kind of worried. Like, my son, wants to go out and take a look at it, and he's 5 years old, and like, if he gets the temptation, we have the glasses for him, but if he gets the temptation to like take them off, or like they fall off his face, I worry about it. Like, yeah, it's cool, but like, how much is it really worth? Just look at a picture, but, and if you want to look at a picture and you want to look at a live stream, no glasses necessary, we have the article for you too. So anyway, that's whether you want to actually be there and look at it, or you want to watch it online, definitely check out our site, tomsguide.com, and check out our sister site, space.com.
I think this is the first time since we've been doing this that we've been able to like actively talk about one of the sister sites.
Yeah. I've also been recruited to like help them tomorrow, so I'm invested in this. I'm kind of guest helping them with whatever things they might need tomorrow, because it's such a big day for them.
Sure.
But it's always an honor to be working with the folks over there. They do a fantastic job. They are, without question, the leading resource for anyone who's interested in space. And this is a big deal for them, but it's a big deal for everyone. So cool times. Enjoy it. Stay safe. Visit our site. Visit our sites.
Yes, indeed. Well, Avram, thank you. Like you and I were talking about before the show, I can't get behind this. I don't know. I haven't gotten the excitement that seemingly most of the rest of the world has.
I
But
haven't gotten as excited about it either. Although there's so much excitement in my office, I can't like help but think like it's got to be a bigger deal than it seems to me. Uh, so I'm definitely gonna try to go up on the roof of my office tomorrow for at least a minute or two and see what it's about
sure.
because obviously a lot of people are very excited about it, and you know it sounds cool, but I also question whether I could just get the same for looking at a picture, but uh, but obviously a lot of people want to see it live, so.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you bringing the information. And obviously, anybody who's listening live or later, make sure you check out both sites for your resources before the eclipse happens, which is in like, what, 18 hours, 16 hours?
15 hours.
15 hours.
So I believe it's going from like 12 to 4.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you for bringing that information. It's always wonderful to get the expert view from like space.com on something like this. So thank you as always. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. Create or destroy. Get $500 in creative software or $200 in games right now when you buy select Razer Blade laptops with Core i7 processors. The deal is almost over. I think there's only a couple days left in it. If you buy a Stealth, you can get a whole creative package with Corel Painter and Video Studio and Aftershot. And if you get a Razer Blade or Razer Blade Pro, you've got World of Warships and Counter-Strike and Robocraft and Euro Truck and Dreadnought and a whole bunch of games. And all of the packages are available right now by going to f5live.tv/Razer. As I mentioned earlier, we will talk Gamescom stuff next week. But for this week, let's talk about Battle.net. And Blizzard's bizarre attempt to retire a brand name that was 20 years old and that kind of everybody in the gaming world knew and loved, and the fact that it's not going to happen. 11 months ago, they announced that Battle.net was over. They felt that the name was too focused on the online play aspect and didn't quite make sense for things like their streaming service, Battle.net streaming. Just it didn't have the right feel to it. So they were going to rename everything under the Blizzard brand. As it turns out, renaming a brand is very difficult, especially after 20 years. And so this week they announced, never mind. Forget that. We're not trying anymore. We're going to call it Blizzard Battle.net. How's that sound? In all of our graphics, but we'll keep the Battle.net name because, wow, that was a bigger undertaking than we expected. If you've ever been involved in a rebrand, it can be complicated. We rebranded the show a number of years ago, and it was unbelievably difficult. Our software company changed names a couple of years ago, and that was pretty difficult too. I can't imagine trying to be Blizzard and rebranding Battle.net. Like, they couldn't even get their own employees to change the name internally.
Yeah, I mean, generally rebranding is a bad idea, and I can without talking too much about my day job, many a times had we talked about rebranding Laptop Magazine, Mac, because we used to cover a lot more non-laptop stuff on there, and but there was this fear that, like, oh man, people aren't going to know who we are. and then we're gonna have real problems. And so we didn't do it, and then the time passed. So it's, I mean, if you got to do it, you got to do it, but it doesn't seem like they got to do it.
No, definitely not. It was just a case of trying to put their own brand name out in front of the product, which, I mean, is a bit of a branding trend right now. You see, Apple has retired the I. Microsoft has started putting their name in front of things. Samsung has started putting their name in front of things. Instead of just letting them be their own thing, they're putting the parent brand on top. But it was an interesting move that was never going to work. I can tell you it was never going to work. Nobody was going to call it anything but BattleNet because it's just been around too long. And as proof, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. When Activision announced that Blizzard was going to be responsible for the PC launch of Destiny 2, both Activision and Bungie referred to it as BattleNet. Now, this was like 8 months into the rebranding effort, and you couldn't even get the parent company to call it by the name, or a developer who was actively working with the product that was going to be part of their launch. You couldn't even get them to call it by the new name. It was a battle that couldn't have been won.
It was a BattleNet that couldn't have been won.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I don't see the point of doing something unless the current brand is extremely limiting to you or just screams like out of date, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So like things, to be fair to Apple, the I, well, they kind of own the I, so it's all right. But I used to mean internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they did it, right?
Right.
And so that's become kind of passé because it's like everything has the internet now.
Yeah. And they had kind of lost control over the lowercase I branding. Like everybody was using it. There's a company called iDevices that makes a digital thermometer for like meat. They had totally lost control over the branding.
Yes. I love.
Uh-huh.
Isn't there the I love speaker?
iHome.
There's a lot. iHome. There's a lot.
There's one of those around here somewhere.
Yeah. So right. So it is true they've kind of lost control of the I branding, but they can't quit it, right? On the other hand, I feel like Apple could.
I don't know. It's not iTunes podcasts anymore.
Yeah. They could quit iPhone. I don't know. Probably it's just so synonymous with things. It probably would be hard.
The 10th anniversary device might be the time to give it a try, though.
I mean, if Google could move from Nexus to Pixel, why can't Apple move from iPhone to Apple phone or something? Sure. So I don't know. It's necessarily. I mean, it's just like if you don't have to do it. But I think a reason to do it is if you feel like the name that you have has an association with something that's out of date or is too constraining. Like, oh man, with this name, I can't. It seems like I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Like, for example, we're Laptop Mag. It doesn't seem like we should be reviewing phones, which we used to do. So, so I think those are the reasons why you would want to rebrand. But people should be companies should be very careful about what they do, because there's negative publicity associated with it. Like, look what happened with Netflix with Quickster.
Oh.
Wasn't that whole problem about the branding, about the rebrand? Wasn't that yes, I guess some people are upset that they were making them different services with the like DVD service versus the streaming service.
That they were trying to almost try and make them unrelated companies.
But like the fact that they changed the brand name of it to sort of like, we don't like this old school DVD stuff anymore, we're going to call it Quickster, seemed dumb. Like, why did you need to do that?
Although I will tell you, from a bit of a Schadenfreude standpoint, I tried so hard to get, because obviously they'd already had envelopes printed. You know that they did. I tried so hard to get him to send me one.
Well, it's sort of like all those T-shirts that people have try to get of the like losing team in the Super Bowl saying they won.
Yeah.
You know, because there's thousands of those things made, and they actually do try to distribute them to like developing nations.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So
rebrands are difficult. This one was never going to work.
So rebrands are difficult, and this one was never going to work. Sometimes you got to do it, but I don't think they need to do it.
Nope.
So it's good that they're giving up.
It's just it's gonna have a new logo, which is fine. It's gonna have the Blizzard name on top and then BattleNet underneath, which is just fine. You can do it that way, but trying to get rid of but even then, nobody's gonna call it Blizzard BattleNet. Everybody's just gonna call it BattleNet. And I think they have finally come around to that reality.
Yeah.
This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live is proudly powered by Riff Tracks. Make fun of movies or let the professionals do it for you, because that's what they get paid for. The guys who used to do Mystery Science Theater 3000 are back and doing what they do best, making fun of movies. From blockbusters to Grizzly, I don't know, it appears to be a giant bear. They've got a little bit of everything. The way it usually works is for a couple of bucks, you download the MP3, play it along with your DVD, Netflix, Amazon, wherever you happen to have the movie, but not Quickster, and laugh. From time to time, they mix things up, and they'll do a live show. Their most recent one was this past Thursday. It was Doctor Who. The how many doctors? A number of them. What's the name of it?
5 Doctors.
That's the one. The good news is, if you missed it on Thursday, you can see it this coming Thursday as well, the 24th, in theaters nationwide. There will be an encore presentation, and you can get your tickets, find out all the movies that are available, and all the MP3s that you can download by going to f5live.tv/rifftracks with an X. Thank you, Abram.
Yes. I would like to see, I don't think they have one, a riff tracks of the movie that I saw last night. That's all I want to say.
Uh-oh.
Of Transformers 4. It was on for free, and that movie deserves to be riffed.
Let's see. I'm on the site right now.
I see a request for it. I don't think they've done it.
I see what appears to be the original, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon. Yeah.
No Age of Extinction.
Nope. Looks like just the first 3 for right now. But it's, if they've done 3 of them, chances are you won't be able to keep them from doing another.
All I can say is it's so bad. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, it was on for free, on demand or whatever, and
you are getting hearts for these comments on Periscope, just so you know.
Well, have you seen the movie?
No.
There's one part that just like you can't help but riff it. Like Mark Wahlberg is the main guy, and his daughter is a 17-year-old girl, and she's like the Megan Fox replacement for this movie. And at one point, he finds out that she has a secret boyfriend. He meets her boyfriend. The boyfriend's 20 years old. He says to the boyfriend, what you're doing with my daughter is illegal. I could call the police. And the boyfriend stops the movie and says, no, it's fine, because we're exempted under the Romeo and Juliet law in Texas. It's this statute number, and I'm carrying a laminated copy of the law with me.
What the what?
Yes. And he goes on to give like a legal explanation of why what he's doing with the daughter is not is not illegal, or he has some exemption from it or whatever. But it is the most bizarre, and it's like a 3-minute conversation about the whole thing. Like, they spend less time explaining the plot than they do explaining why it's not illegal for him to be with the 20-year-old boyfriend to be with the 17-year-old daughter, which was completely unnecessary.
Because almost nobody was there. Like, nobody was thinking it.
Also, like, there's no evidence that they,
Yeah.
consummated this relationship. But now that like they start talking about it, like, so now, like, if you were gonna watch this movie with your kids, now you have to explain to them what, like, being under age of consent means. Like, wait a second, I was just trying to show my kid a movie with giant robots fighting, and now I have to explain, like, these laws to my kid. I mean, my son was asleep, thankfully, but I'm just saying, like, don't show your kids.
Oh, Avram, I so very badly now want to do a bad movie review show with you.
Well, I certainly could do it. Anyway,
so speaking of bizarre, not as bizarre as that, but I guess I don't have a choice but to make that transition. So there's been a trend on Facebook that I guarantee everybody has noticed, and everybody has wondered why. You have probably noticed videos playing in your Facebook feed that are actually just photos. And kind of everybody has looked and gone, okay, that seems unnecessary, but whatever. I even got a phone call from my father. Why is this happening? I don't know. As it turns out, one of the primary reasons that it's happening, there's a lot of theories, but the primary reason right now that it's happening is because of Facebook's algorithm that promotes video content. So, if you want to share a photo meme, the best way to do it is as a video, because you're more likely to go to the top of somebody's newsfeed. Okay. Anytime you create a game, or anytime you add rules to something innocuous, you create a game. Anytime you have a game, there are going to be people who play it well. So here we have people who are playing it well, but the thing about it is it's weird, and it uses up data that it doesn't need to use, and both for transmitting it to you and for storing it on Facebook servers. So Facebook has said that they have come up with a technology whose name I do not remember, motion scoring, where they're going to look at frame by frame and ensure that there's actually motion in the video, and if not, will demote the video.
Aha. So cue somebody figuring out how to get around this.
Exactly. Because again, once you create rules, you've created a game. And once you have a game, you will have people who are good at playing it. My guess is we're going to start seeing text like sway in videos.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it is a little ridiculous, though, because if someone is posting garbage like that and you don't want to see it, like, one possibility is to unfollow that person or that institution. It's probably an institution, not a person that would do that. It's not like you really care about getting the top of your friend's feed. It's more like, you're running, a website and you have the Facebook presence for it, or a brand or something like that.
Right.
So, but hey, this is the case with SEO, right? How many people have tried to find all the tricks, which is why Google keeps it a secret, like exactly what the different tricks are. And they've made their algorithm so complicated over the years that it's hard to find one thing you could do. But remember all the time people would put, like, all kinds of keywords repeated over and over again at the bottom of the page?
Yeah.
Or in white, on a white background?
Yep.
Yeah. So
and now that hurts you hugely. Because once you create a game, the people who are in charge of it become the referees. And so that's what Google did there and what Facebook is doing here. Obviously, people will look for new loopholes. Speaking of websites trying to find a spot on Facebook, the other weird thing that you've probably noticed, especially in the last couple of months, is links to websites with fake video play buttons on them.
Oh.
That will also start getting majorly demoted as part of this next feed update. Now, you might wonder why Facebook cares, and it's because of this. The reason why that they started promoting video content is because, well, Facebook is creating their own video content platform.
Yeah.
And
they want to keep you on the site. They want to keep you on Facebook.
Right. And they want to keep you within the things that are going to directly generate them revenue, which in this case is going to be Facebook Watch. And so things that are distracting you or annoying you away from wanting to look at video on Facebook are all problems for them.
Also, if you click that link thinking you're getting video and then you get sent to another site, then you've you've probably you may have ended your Facebook session there. Maybe you'll hit back, maybe you won't. So
right.
you don't want people leaving the site if they don't have to.
Those sites do tend to be of reputable of questionable reputation. So usually you'll hit the back button pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, indeed, Facebook doesn't want people leaving the site via weird external fake links, and they also don't want you to get annoyed at video on Facebook so that you don't interact with the Facebook Watch content. So that is likely why Facebook is worrying about this, because normally they just leave stuff like that go for as long as whatever. But yeah, my guess is that they do not want to annoy people with fake video stuff, so that they'll actually interact with the revenue driver, which will be Facebook Watch.
It sounds reasonable to me. I mean, these are things actually, whether they are in Facebook's interest, but they're also in their users' interest. So
yeah, indeed.
So they should do it. And if you think about it, it also just kind of shows how far artificial intelligence and machine learning have come
in a very short order.
Because and I mean, this is true with a lot of things, right? Because you have Facebook now is really smart about suggesting tagging people, right? Like, so it knows who you are from looking at the picture a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my wife took a picture of me and some other people and my son yesterday, and like Facebook tried to auto tag me, in the picture.
Sure.
It knew who I was.
Ooh.
Very bizarre. Little. Because I wasn't even that close to the front. But anyway, so
Facebook asked me if I wanted to tag somebody in a photo that I didn't realize that's who it was in the photo.
Right. So obviously, if they can find a person's face and figure out who it is, then they can probably find an arrow on a JPEG.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this looks like a play arrow in the middle of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They can probably find, and they can probably compare the different frames of a video to see how similar they are.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm personally perfectly happy with particularly the video photo or photo videos or whatever weird meme thing they are. I'm perfectly okay with those going away because, again, they take data transmission for no reason. So anyway, you will start seeing that roll out possibly already. Obviously, we know that Facebook rolls out their changes in waves based on what server cluster you're on. So you may have noticed it already. You may not have, but whatever it is, you will likely see it in the next couple of days, as well as circular profile photos. I know that's going to piss some people off, but there you go. There it is. It's coming.
I don't really care about that one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't either. It's the wave of the future, Abram. This week's DRM not included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Groove Music. All the music you love, play ad-free from one of the largest catalogs on the planet. You can listen anywhere, whether it be on your PC, your tablet, your Xbox 360, or Xbox One, whether it be the original, the S, or the X, on your smartphone, whether it be Android, iPhone, or Windows, or, of course, just on the web. Plus, you can download music on up to 3 devices. So when you don't want to use your data, like Facebook, you can play without having to stream it. And, of course, all the features that you would expect, create playlists and custom radio stations based on artists and genres and stuff like that. And you can get a free 30-day trial. A 3? That's not the right word. A free 30-day trial by going to f5live.tv/groove. A 3 trial. I don't even know what a 3 trial is. Oh. If you can't tell, guys, I've got a little bit of a headache today. So I'm not always making the sense that I would normally make. Anyway, so let's talk about HBO for a minute and the security problems they've managed to get themselves into, and I don't know how. Over the last couple of weeks, there have been at least 3 separate data breaches inside of HBO. The first one was very well publicized. A terabyte and a half of data was taken from HBO's servers, and about 2 or 3 gig of it was released. And then HBO was extorted for Bitcoin if they wanted the rest of the information to not be released. One of the pieces that was released was the names, addresses, and phone numbers of all of the Game of Thrones actors, so that's not brilliant. But also, there were episode scripts and all kind emails. Oh, emails from executives, an executive contact list, which was no good. All kinds of stuff in the little bit that they did release. But then there was the potential for a lot more, and HBO has offered them a smaller amount as a good faith thing so that maybe they can find them and potentially solve it without having to pay a whole lot. And the reason why they feel that might work is because this week, the second breach that released an episode of Game of Thrones, a full video episode of Game of Thrones before it aired, ended in 4 arrests in India. As it turns out, HBO does not stream all of their own content in every country. Sometimes they make partnerships with existing streaming services in some countries. In India's case, the company that they streamed with, 4 of their employees actually stole the information after HBO sent it over to queue up into the streaming service and released it on probably on a torrent site. So those 4 have been arrested. There are obviously there's investigations still pending. There's a lot that still has to be done, but 4 arrests there. And then the third one was almost identical, except that it involved Curb Your Enthusiasm, which hasn't even come back yet. So, yikes.
Oh, so they got new episodes?
Yeah.
Before everybody else?
Yeah, well, there are episodes, at least the first 1 or 2 episodes of the new season that won't premiere until October are available online now. Now, they're going to be on, in scary places, so I wouldn't recommend looking for them. But yeah, same kind of situation. A couple of episodes got out early. Oops.
Wow. Well, do you remember people used to say information just wants to be free?
Uh-huh.
Well, think about all the hacks that we've seen the last few years. We've had major data breaches of companies that hold people's personal financial information and their social security numbers. We have had account breaches at major sites that hold people's passwords.
Retailers have accidentally given away credit card information.
that's almost like the least problem because
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
it's
That's
almost like the
that's
least
the
of the problems.
calmest of the issues is that
Because
Target had 8 months of credit card information just constantly going out.
because if you think about it, credit card purchases are insured. It's easy enough to get a new credit card issued and not have to pay for the bogus charges.
Boy,
But
I wish that was my scenario this week. Anyway, keep going.
But if, people have access to other stuff of yours, like the ability that they can open a credit account in your name,
Yeah.
then you're really in trouble.
Yeah.
So if they get like your social security number, or they start to get like too much personal information, where they can start to like apply for a credit card in your name,
Yep.
then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
More so than if they get one credit card.
Sure.
But I digress. So we're living in a world where there's a lot of data breaches all the time. It does really, obviously, people need to have better security. Although the problem with security is there's always a human element. So with this streaming service in India, you see that, right? So the guys who were caught, were they employees of the streaming service?
Yep.
So they were probably supposed to have access.
Yep.
So it's not like somebody hacked in
Right.
and, broke in. They were supposed to have access. So, that's the problem. And then you have a lot of spear phishing going on where people are being sent an email, they know who to target and how to target them, and then they get access. So the human beings are usually the weakest point
Yeah.
in any of this, but maybe what people and companies should start doing is looking at what information do we actually need to have online and on our servers.
Yeah.
Like,
and what stuff should be like fully blacklisted.
So like Curb Your Enthusiasm, they're not airing it for a while, right?
Right.
Could they? I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about how like television networks work, but could they have not like put that on on a hard drive, an external hard drive somewhere,
Right.
that wasn't connected to the internet, and held it there until right before it airs or something like that? I mean, obviously, that's not the best data policy in the sense of like you'd like it to be accessible to whoever in the organization needs to have it, but could you kind of keep it disconnected from the internet? Similarly, if you're going to say something that would really embarrass your organization, maybe you should do it on a phone call or in person rather than an email, right? Like,
Right.
look at the Sony hack and all the things that they said in the Sony hack.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of that was just like conversational stuff, and maybe you should always operate on the assumption that if you send an email, it might be exposed.
Right.
Now that limits the usefulness of your online communication, but that might be the conclusion that we all have to draw.
Sure.
Because we're living in a world where data breaches just seem to happen. So maybe instead of trying to figure out how we always prevent them, which is great, like let's do everything we can to prevent them, but maybe we should limit the surface area of what we're exposing and what we're actually saying in electronic communication.
Absolutely. That all makes sense to me. Control what you can control, right? You can't necessarily control the people entirely. Maybe a better hiring policy for that company in India may have helped, but you don't know. They may have been the most trustworthy people the company thought they had. But control what you can control. Don't put Curb Your Enthusiasm in a place that it can be accessed by somebody who's looking to steal stuff. Don't say crazy things in emails, because emails are not secure. know that, guys. Just because somebody doesn't hack into your email doesn't mean that your emails are not public information. Because every email you send, on average, bounces to 3 servers before it makes it to the person you're sending it to. And all those servers are caching it. So
Yeah.
So just know that any information that's out there is out there. So just control what information's out there. That's a good general rule for all of us, Avram, and thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, just try to limit. You wanna badmouth one of your employees or your boss. Do it F to F.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do it in a place where where that conversation might get cached. And face to face is like the least likely place it might be cached.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed to not be, because there could be a recorder in somebody's pocket, but at least the chances of that conversation being cached are slim.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it now many times. We've seen what happened to Sony. We're seeing what happened to HBO. We saw this had a major impact on the presidential campaign last year. So clearly, you should not assume that your emails are always going to be secure,
because they are not. Ever. Unless you were sending it on the same server, they are never secure. And that is our show. Thank you for those of you who joined us live. We always appreciate it. And you can always do that by going to f5live.tv/join us on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you're not able to join us live, that is okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you can subscribe to all of our shows, this one and the Pilch Point and all of our other series as well. Before we go, I want to say congratulations to Thomas French, who is one of our game reviewers and has filled in on the show in the past if I have not had somebody to sit next to me. He and his now wife, Karina, got married on Thursday. So congratulations to you guys. They are a great couple, and I was honored to be invited to the wedding and to be asked to do a photography for the wedding, which is, oh boy, there are very few things in the world like wedding photography to make you uncomfortable, because you get one shot at that. But they trusted me with it, which we'll see how well that turns out. Anyway, so congratulations to you guys. I guess on the reviewing topic, if you are interested, and our viewers, if you are interested in possibly doing some reviews, particularly for video games, because boy, are we getting a lot of review requests lately, send me an email, contact@plughitz.com. We're looking for a couple of people to join us. So let me know over there, or you can get me on social media. However makes sense. We'll talk about what it might entail, and yeah. So I guess with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you guys back next week. Ciao.